Alright, hey, HadesOmega here, and welcome to my new bike video, alright? It's under covers right now, so I'm gonna unveil it soon, but I'm pretty sure you know what it is if you looked at the title of the video, alright? So, this is a show and tell video for my 2018 Alta Redshift SM, alright? And SM stands for supermoto, alright? I'm gonna talk about why I bought this bike. Alright, so HadesOmega's been looking for another electric bike for a little while now, and I used to have a 2016 Victory Impulse TT, alright? That was a 6-speed electric naked sport bike, and I loved it a lot. That was my first electric motorcycle. My second electric motorcycle is right back here, Suron Lightbee MX. Alright, I've had it for 4 years now, and yeah, I'm looking for something else. That's what I want to say. Alright, I was looking for something. I race supermotos. Alright, I do like local supermoto races, and I race into Supermoto USA, and I've done some AMA supermoto races, and I race Suron Lightbee in the mini bike classes. Okay. But I wanted a big bike. There's a lot of people, they got the big bikes, they go faster, you know, and HadesOmega wanted a bigger, faster bike, you know. You're not going to get that kind of performance from the Lightbee, is what I want to say. It's just a different kind of animal, okay? So there was a couple bikes I was looking at getting, and a lot of people have been asking me, hey, so what bike are you going to get, yada, da, da, da. Suron is coming out with two new bikes this year, okay? They're coming out with the Ultra Bee and the Storm Bee, okay? And I was kind of excited about the Storm Bee, and then it took a long time for them to release it, and finally it's starting to come out, is what I want to say. And same thing with the Ultra Bee. The Ultra Bee actually came out really quickly, and I'm not gonna lie, I would have bought an Ultra Bee if they had come out the same time that the Lightbee came out, right? If I had to choose between an Ultra Bee and a Lightbee, well, of course I would choose the Ultra Bee, right? It's got motorcycle components on it and all that jazz, and the Storm Bee is a full-size electric motorcycle, alright? And I was thinking of getting an Ultra Bee to do pretty much the same stuff that the Lightbee does. Basically ride it off-road, alright? I think an Ultra Bee would be a much better off-road bike than the Lightbee, because I'm just getting the crap beaten out of me riding a Lightbee. That's what I'm saying, alright? Just that mountain bike suspension just not good enough, is what I want to say, okay? And then the Storm Bee, alright? I heard stuff about the Storm Bee. It's not like a all-out performance kind of bike. It's kind of more along the lines of like an FX, alright? A Zero FX. Alright? And HadesOmega has ridden a lot of electric bikes. Probably more than a dozen, is what I want to say, alright? I've ridden my fair share of electric bikes over the years, type of thing, alright? And I was looking for something to replace my Impulse TT, alright? And that was an electric bike that I used to do. I do big bike track days on it, and you can't do big bike track days on a Lightbee. You probably could on a Storm Bee, alright? So, okay, so here's what I've decided, alright? Well, I went with the Alta Redshift, right? but ultimately what led to this was that the Ultra Bee, it pretty much does the same thing as the Lightbee, alright? And if I bought Ultra Bee, it would have been like $6,000. That's, well, I think it's $6,500. Alright, and who knows how much it would have been after tax and registration and all that jazz, right? And then it would have been a stock Ultra Bee. It wouldn't have been probably as fast as my Lightbee is, alright? Because I've dumped a lot of money into my Lightbee, so I've decided I'm just gonna keep the Lightbee, alright? We're gonna keep the Lightbee, so the Lightbee is gonna be my mini electric bike, alright? I use my Lightbee for like a lot of things and a lot of different types of racing, right? I do motocross races, hair scrambles. I've done Grand Prix on it, all right? We did the Virginia City Grand Prix. You can see. Okay, so yeah, I've done a bunch of different racing with the Lightbee, all right? And one thing about the Lightbee is a very versatile bike, and it's pretty inexpensive to operate, all right? Even when you're breaking parts, I just want to say, I've broken parts left and right on the Lightbee, and HadesOmega is pretty good at fixing a Lightbee up. That's what I say, alright? But anyway, I use it for motocross racing, hair scrambles, flat track racing more recently, Grand Prix, alright? I raced the Virginia City Grand Prix in it, and supermoto racing, alright? And like little kart track days, okay, that kind of stuff. And it's a very versatile bike. All right, you can do a lot of things with it, and it's pretty inexpensive to operate and stuff. But I wanted a bike that was bigger, all right, that I could ride on the street, all right, type of thing, and then I'll ride on a big bike track and all that. And so I thought about, and then I'd also thought about getting a Storby, all right, but the problem with Soron Canada, or whoever's I think it's Dean Motor Group or something is importing it. They're only importing the dirt bike models, all right? No dual sports, all right? On their website, they made it clear that the Ultra B is just it's gonna be a dirt bike, all right? So yeah, so it's gonna be a dirt bike. It's not a street legal model. So and I want like a bigger electric bike to ride around town with and stuff, right? As I want to say, it would be nice. I'm not gonna lie. HadesOmega would love an Energica, all right? I would love an Energica Xperia or SS9, all right? So I can do some long distance riding and touring on electric motorcycle with DC fast charging, but I just don't have that kind of money, man. It's like $20,000. I've seen some SS9s go for about $9,000, $10,000, so that's not too bad, as I want to say. I could probably do that, but I just don't have that money, like, to pull the trigger on that right now. That's what I say, alright? Maybe in the future, alright? But for a long distance bike, I've got my KLR 650 and I just got done rebuilding it, okay? And then yeah, and then there entered the Storby, alright? So the Storby is a full-size electric dirt bike or dual sport, alright? And I heard it rides something like a DRZ 400, alright? I've ridden a DRZ 400. Not a bad bike, it's pretty good. It's kind of tame off-road is what I say, alright? Very easy bike to ride is what I want to say. But it's kind of heavy and it's not too off-road oriented. It's more like a dual sport type of thing, and an electric dual sport, not very good. That's what I say, alright? You can't go very far on an electric motorcycle is what I want to say, okay? The Storby is supposed to come out this year in the United States. And then I think next year, maybe 2024 or something, they're planning to come out with the street legal model. And I'm like, man, I'll have to wait like another year. I was like, I kind of don't want to do that. And then I would still have to get and I would want to race it for supermoto and stuff. And so I said, like, yeah, you know what? I want to get an electric supermoto. And what electric supermoto bikes are out there? Well, you got the Zero FXS, and then you've got the Alta Redshift, all right? Yeah, so that's what I decided on. I saw this Redshift on Craigslist for $9,500. All right, and then I've been oogling it for a couple weeks. The ad's been out for like 20 days or something, and I look at it every week. I look at it and I drool over it. I was like, okay, so let me talk about my history with the Alta Redshift. All right, so when the Alta Redshift first came out in like 2017, 2018, that time. I got to ride the MX model, all right? Alta came out with a demo truck, and they had a bunch of their bikes, and I got to ride one at Metcalf Motorcycle Park. I will put a link at the end of the description to those demo ride videos if you want to see it, all right? And I got to ride it, and I was pretty impressed at it, all right? This was before I had the Light B also, by the way. Actually, riding the Redshift wanted me to get an electric dirt bike, all right? I already had an electric motorcycle, the Impulse at the time, but then I wanted an electric dirt bike after I rode the Alta Redshift, right? I knew I wanted one, all right? But the problem is I couldn't afford one. The Redshift was around $10,000, yeah, more than $10,000 for Alta Redshift, okay? And but I was legitimately impressed with it. It was and over the years I've gotten to ride one like a handful of times, all right? My buddy Butch has a couple of them. He let me ride it for a little bit. And then I saw a father and son with Redshifts at the Metcalf Motorcycle Park one day, and they let me just hop on and ride it. We did like a bike swap. They rode my, I let one of them ride my Light B, and I rode his the Redshift. And I just rode it, and I'm just like, man, it still blows my mind how good that bike still was. All right, it just soaks up the terrain. It's got good power. It's got good regen. All the programming and stuff on it. You really have to mess with it at all. Okay, it was a great bike right out of the box. All right, made in America too. Okay, and yeah, so I always wanted a Redshift, but I couldn't afford one. Well, anyway, I saw this one pop up on Craigslist. It was in Santa Cruz, California. All right, and it was a supermoto. So did you enjoy the unveiling clip? All right, there it is. All right, this is what I bought. All right, I bought a 2018 Alta Redshift SM. All right, so story is I was looking at this ad on Craigslist. It was $9,500. I was like, it's. Ooh, I was like, man, that's a sexy looking supermoto. I'm just thinking like, man, I could race the bigger supermoto bikes with it. You know, I could put some dirt wheels on it and we can ride it off road and stuff. And I can. It's a supermoto. It's street legal. It's got the lights and the blinkers and all that stuff. I could ride it around town. I could do some DoorDash with it. You know, there's a lot of things I could do with it. And I was like, electric supermoto bike. It appeals to me. All right, because I'm already a supermoto tard guy. Okay, you got it. Anyway, I saw the ad. The dude I bought it from. He was gonna leave the country basically. He was gonna move somewhere else, and he couldn't take it with him. All right, so unfortunately he couldn't take it for him, but fortunately for me, I looked at the price. I've been looking at the price every week, and I see it go down every week. It went $9,500 one week, $8,500 one week, and then $7,500 the next week. And I'm like, man, this guy must be like getting desperate to sell it soon, right? Because he's gonna be leaving, right? So I shot him, and then I thought like, but you know what? I didn't have the money to buy it, right? I wouldn't need to borrow the money, so that's what HadesOmega thought of doing, all right? So I took out a small loan to buy this bike, all right? What wound up happening was I offered $6,000 for it, all right? And I've seen prices for Alta Redshifts vary a lot, all right? You can get them from anywhere from $6,000 to like anywhere to $12,000 or $13,000, all right? Probably a good price for a Redshift would probably be around $8,000 or $9,000. Okay, yeah, that's my guess. Especially, you know, the time it is now. So this is a 2018 model. This is now, it's 2023. It's 5 years old now. Okay, so it's been around for 5 years. It's, you know, and but it only has 3,100 miles on it. He didn't, dude I bought it from didn't really ride it all that much. All right, what he told me was he used it for commuting, and he only commuted like 5 miles a day or something. I mean, I guess it's a great commuter bike type of thing, all right? Especially if you're only going like 5 miles. You would never use up any gas, all right? You could just get like a scooter though, but I'm sure a scooter would be a lot less exciting than an electric supermoto, all right? So there it is. So it was $7,500. I offered $6,000. He's like, oh, I can't sell it for that much. And then and I told him, and then he said like, but he was like, but you know what? I could do $7,000. And I was like, you know what? I can do $7,000. I'll do $7,000. It's a little more than I wanted to pay for it. All right. I think that's a fair price. Just want to say it looks like it's in pretty good shape. All right, and there's not too many miles on it. And yeah, so this is a pretty good example of a stock Alta Redshift Supermoto SM, all right? I think they only made these for 1 year, 2018. They might have made them in 2019. I'm not sure. I'm not 100%. But yeah, so here's the history of kind of Alta. I believe I've just been doing some research, right? It's a company that started up in like 2007, and it took them a long time to from conception to this, all right? And around 2017, 2018, they were getting ready to produce the bike and sell it to the public and all that. And that's when HadesOmega got a chance to ride it, the MX. They came out with 3 models in 2018. All right, they came out with the MX, the EX, and the SM. All right, so the MX is a motocross bike. It's off-road. It's a dirt bike. All right, it's off-road only model. Then the EX was a dual sport. All right, so it's basically the MX with the mirrors and the blinkers and all that stuff to make it street legal. Okay, and then this one is a supermoto model. All right, so it's you know, supermoto factory model. All right, it's got 17-inch rims with street tires on it, and that's what the thing that makes it unique as a supermoto. It's a dirt bike that is set up to ride on the street. That's basically what a supermoto is. Okay. It's optimized for carving up the corners, okay, type of thing. But it's still got that dirt bike geometry and shape, all right? And it's not the most aerodynamic thing in the world. So let's say that's a drawback to supermotos. What supermotos are good for are carving up them corners, all right? And yeah, so this is pretty much, it has the street tires, and it has all the dual sport stuff on it, all right? The mirrors, the blinkers, the license plate, and all that stuff that makes it like a supermoto. What's different, and another difference between the supermoto and the off-roady models, okay, is that the forks are different. All right, I think the triple clamps are wider, and the fork is, I think it has 1 inch less travel, and it has radial caliper, radial brake caliper mount. Right, so the brakes are much stronger on the supermoto than it is on the off-road models. When you're riding off-road, you honestly you really don't need that good of brakes, okay? Especially if if you got regen, you probably hardly use the brakes at all, type of thing, all right? Unless you're really hauling ass, you know, and you really need to slow down right away. Well, supermoto, it's a good idea to have bigger brakes on a supermoto because you're going way faster than you are in the dirt, and you know when you are on the pavement, type of thing, all right? So you need to slow the bike down, all right? So yeah, that's the big difference. There isn't also an R model. It's a model that has a different. I think pretty much the only difference is the battery pack. So this one has what's called the A pack, and the R models have what's called the R pack. All right, and I think it has like a better battery chemistry. It's a different cells in it. All right, I think this battery uses 18650 cells in it. All right, lithium ion. And then I believe there were some 2019 models that were sold, and I think most of those were the R models. Okay, from what I've seen is the 2019 models, most of them were like sold as R models. All right, and so the R model has like more horsepower, more power. It's got more range, that kind of stuff. All right. Unfortunately, they never sold SMR. All right, they didn't sell the SMR. They didn't sell the supermoto in the R model. All right. If Alta Motors hadn't ceased to be a company in 2019, all right, or 2018 for that matter, they probably would have came out with the SMR model, all right. But so this was a SM model. They never came out with the R model supermoto, okay. Yeah, so that's a scoop. That's how I got it. That's some history about Alta Motors. Alta Motors was going to partner up with Harley Davidson in like 2018, 2019, somewhere around that, and then they backed out, and then so they were trying to get more funding because they're running out of money, and then so they ran out of money, and they closed up shop in like October of 2018 from what I heard. Okay, so unfortunately Alta Motors is no more, and they don't produce this bike anymore. All right, so that's one of the downsides to this, to Hades Omega buying this bike, is that there's no support for it anymore. All right, not that much support. All right, you're gonna have to rely on like the aftermarket, which they don't have a whole lot of parts for this bike, and it's not gonna be like the Light B. You know, Light B's got tons of aftermarket for it. All right, and yeah, there's no OEM support. All right, there's no dealers, and there's no and then you're gonna have to rely on like eBay. All right, eBay, Craigslist, secondhand. All right, you get secondhand parts. All right, and from like buying from other Redshift owners and stuff. Okay, so that's the only way you're going to be able to get parts for this bike. So try not to break it, Hades Omega. That's what I say. All right. But yeah, it's a pretty cool bike. I've actually never ridden the supermoto version. I got to ride it briefly up and down the block, and it was in freaking mode 4 when I started it. I rode it and I twisted it, and I was like, holy shit, it's really fast. I was like, yeah, I was surprised how fast it was. I didn't even know what mode it was. When I took it home and I checked what mode it is, oh, it was just mode 4. Mode 4 is the most powerful mode, guys. It's what they call the overclocked mode, all right? But yeah, I was pretty surprised. But that was my first time riding the supermoto, was up and down the block before I bought it, all right? And so what happened was I got the loan from my bank, USAA, all right? I got them to fund partial amount of it, and then I paid the rest with cash, all right? I got it for $7,000. All right, I took out a $5,000 loan, and then I gave him $2,000 cash. And the dude wasn't even in the country. All right, the dude had already left the country. Like literally, this week or last week when I picked the bike up yesterday, he'd been gone already. He's not in the country. Like he's moving. All right. So he had this stashed at his friend's house, and like what he told me is that there was a bunch of people interested, but I guess nobody pulled the trigger. All right, I seemed to be the only one that was like to really want to buy it type of thing, and yeah, and then it was really annoying. I had to do the I had to get a loan on it. I've never done a loan for like a private party purchase type of thing. I've only ever done loans with like the dealer, you know, and they do all the work for you. They do all the paperwork and stuff. So anyway, this is supposed to the process. I had to apply for the loan. I got the loan, and then I was approved for the loan, and then I had to get all the information. I had to get like the VIN number, the model, and all that stuff. And then I told, and then when they got all that information, they were gonna mail me a check with the previous owner's name on it, so he can, you know, deposit it into his account. And then what I'm supposed to do is I'm supposed to go there. I give him the check, all right. I gave him the check and the cash, all right. And then they give me the bike and the title, all right. And then so when I go, I haven't done it yet, but when I go to get it registered, I have to bring them the title, and I have to tell them, hey, there's a lien on the bike. This is the lien holder. So what happens is the DMV is gonna send the title with the lien holder, all right, name on it. So technically, I don't own the bike yet, all right. I don't own all of the bike, and I have to send that, and then they're gonna send that title to the USA, my bank, all right. And then they're gonna hold that until I pay the loan off. If you guys are wondering, it's a 9.4% loan, all right. That's a pretty bad. That's like a credit card, all right. HadesOmega is going to pay this off as soon as possible, all right? I have a freaking another loan for my RAV4, and yeah, it's a really bad time for me to be buying another bike, all right? That's what I say. So I'm like hella broke right now, okay? Anyway, $7,000 out of my account and all that stuff, and here we go. I got it. So there she is, all right? So let's talk about some specifications on this, and then we'll take a closer look at the bike, and then that's it, and then HadesOmega will make some ride videos, and I will do some videos whenever I do some kind of work on the bike. I'll shoot some videos on it. I don't think this bike would be a very popular bike to shoot videos on. Unfortunately, it's just like my Impulse. Hardly anybody owned the freaking Impulse, so I didn't really get a lot of viewers for that. All right, but it's a very interesting bike. It's very what I call it is yesterdecade's best electric dirt bike and supermoto, all right? This is literally the pinnacle of electric dirt bike and supermoto for the 2010s years, okay? This is the best that you could buy, all right? And then now, you know, we've got all this crazy stuff coming out. Ultra B, Storm B, the Varg is coming out this year, like a bunch of other stuff is coming out. So the Redshift was like the best of, you know, back then, and it's still, and I think it still could be competitive now, all right? That's why we're going to race it, all right? So HadesOmega is planning to use this as a supermoto race bike also, okay? That was one of the main reasons I wanted it. I wanted to race the big boys on a bigger bike. Okay, so let's go over some specs. This is from the manual, all right? And yeah, and then so let's check it out. So the brake fluid it uses is .4. It has a 320 millimeter front brake with the Brembo radial calipers, okay? Very powerful front brakes, way powerful than what's on the Sauron, I'll tell you that. One thing HadesOmega always complain about on the Sauron is the brakes. The brakes are shit, okay? This does not have shit brakes, all right? This is spectacular brakes, especially the Supermoto model. It comes with a bigger rotor, all right? And it comes with a radial caliper, all right? It's a very good caliper. I had Brembos on my Impulse TT, and those literally were like the best brakes I've ever used. My Impulse TT braked so well. When you're going really fast on a racetrack and you need to slow down really fast, then you need good brakes, all right? And this machine has it, all right? Yes, there is regen and all that stuff, but you know, it's nice to not have to worry about it, especially when you're going really fast. The regen, you know, won't cut it. All right. So that's some info about the brakes. gear oil. Okay, so interesting thing to note about this bike. All right, it has a gearbox. All right, think of a Talaria Sting. All right, so the Talaria Sting has the motor, and then there's a gearbox with a reduction system where there's a bunch of gears in there that reduce the you know, the spinning of the motor. All right, and then it spins at a rate that's, you know, better for, you know, riding on the street type of thing, okay, or riding a dirt bike. So it's very similar to the Talaria Sting, though this came out way before the Talaria Sting, all right? And you don't have a funky belt. There's no belts, no goofy things. It's not like the Zero motorcycles where you have the belt, all right? It's a direct drive, and you have a belt that goes to the thing, and it's really got a huge pulley on it. No, this doesn't have it. It just has a gear reduction system. In my opinion, that's probably the best of, you know, that's the best thing you could have, all right? You can have a gearbox with a gear reduction system, so you don't have to have these monster freaking pulleys and sprockets and stuff, okay? And it makes using off the shelf, you know, sprockets and stuff a lot easier, all right? So anyway, it uses a 75W90 gear oil, about 120 millimeters of it. It is water cooled, all right? It uses a Prestone 50/50 pre-diluted ethylene glycol, all right? Pretty much the same coolant you would use in your automobile, all right? HadesOmega's Impulse was also water cooled as well, and that made some kind of problems too. I had like stuff leaking and stuff, so I hope that doesn't happen to this bike, man. Interesting to note, this bike doesn't have a radiator. The radiator is the frame itself. This whole part up here, the coolant circulates through it. This basically is the radiator, this upper part of the frame here, right? Okay, it's got an O-ring chain. It doesn't say what kind it doesn't say what kind it has, but I think that looks like a 520 or a 525 chain. I'll look at it. It's a big beefy motorcycle chain, right? It ain't no dinky the 420 chain, all right? Weights, all right? So this is the SM model. This is 283 pounds, all right? I will get my scales out and we'll actually weigh it in a different video, okay? Just to see before I start doing modifications to it. 283 pounds. This is the heaviest of the Redshifts, all right? Also, what makes the... I almost forgot. So what also makes the supermoto version special compared to the MX version is it has an onboard charger. I don't know if the EX model, the dual sport model, has it, but this has an onboard charger. All right, you just basically plug an extension cord into it. All right, it's right here. All right, you plug an extension cord right here, and it just starts charging. You can charge from wherever you want. You know, it's not like the Light B where it has an off-board charger. You have to plug the charger into an outlet, and you charge and then you plug the charger into the battery. All right, this one the charger is already on board. It's a lot like my Impulse and a lot of like other electric motorcycles. Okay. I'm not really sure what the rate of charge is. I think it's... yeah, I do know. I was charging it the other day. It charges at 1200 watts, all right? Pretty much 1.2 kilowatts, all right? Level 1 speeds, okay? But the good thing is, like, yeah, if you're going out with somewhere, you could plug it into an outlet and get a charge, and you can plug it into any outlet, all right? I think... I'm not 100% sure. I think you might be able to use a J1772 adapter and plug it into a electric vehicle charging station, like a J-plug one. All right. I haven't tried it yet. I don't know. I don't know if it can handle 240 volts. All right. I heard something about like you need a firmware thing. Okay. Seat height. All right. The seat height is 35 inches. All right. It's a pretty tall bike. Okay. If you're a short person, then probably not a good bike for you. This is actually the shortest of all the other Redshift models, also as well. All right, it's shorter because it has 17-inch wheels, all right, versus the 18 and 21 of the MX model, okay? Yeah, so on this bike, yeah, let me go sit on it real quick, and I'll give you an idea how tall. Okay, HadesOmega's gonna go sit on it, all right? I am 5'10", 180 pounds, all right? And I'm on like the front part of my feet, all right? I'm not tippy toes, all right? I can almost flat-foot it. If the seat was a little bit lower, I could flat-foot it, all right? There's the kickstand off, all right? Okay. It's a pretty tall bike. It feels like a motocross bike. It's very narrow. The seat's very narrow right here. Okay, it's not like my DR650. It's not wide. bike was not built for comfort. It was built for pretty much racing, all right? It's an electric race bike, all right, that you can ride on the street. Okay, so it's also 283 pounds. That's about as heavy as a Stormbee. It's pretty heavy, all right? For a supermoto, I think that's okay, but you would want it as light as possible. Okay, to tell you the truth, this probably doesn't make a very good race bike because it has the onboard charger, all right? If I was racing, I would not want an onboard charger, all right? That adds weight to the bike. I think that's the main reason why this is a lot heavier than the MX and the EX models, okay? If I could somehow take the onboard charger off and use a off-board charger, that would be the best thing, okay? But I'm kind of gonna use this as like a dual kind of supermoto. I'm gonna use it for racing and riding on the street, all right? Okay, so another reason, the Light Bee, all right? Well, my Light Bee is street legal. It has a moped plate on it, all right? I don't like it riding it on the street anymore. I don't do it anymore, all right? I mean, if I have to, I will. You know, if I'm going to go out into the mountains and ride, then that's fine, you know, to test the bike out. That's the nice thing about having the moped plate. I can go ride it on the street if I want to, you know, but I try not to as much as possible because I get flat tires all the time, man. I have to ride it in the bike lane, and I get flat tires all the time. Pretty much almost every time I go take it out. If I take it out for a DoorDash, I'm almost guaranteed to get a flat tire, man. And it's happened to me like way too many times, and it just wastes of time and energy to freaking fix these flats, all right? I've replaced so many flats, okay? So what I've noticed is if you have a motorcycle, you can ride it on the street. You don't have to ride it in the freaking bike lane. We can lane split in California, so there's really no benefit to being able to ride in the bike lane because you can just lane split anyway, all right? Now, granted, this probably isn't the best bike to lane split on because it's got some pretty wide handlebars on it, but I do it in the Light Bee also, and it's not bad, all right? I do it in my KLR also, so yeah, it's probably, if it was really narrow, it's probably going to be hard to fit between the cars, all right? But, okay, so yeah, so that's one reason. I do want to ride this on the street. So if I do want to go somewhere or whatever, I can, you know, I can ride this on the street, and I don't have to ride it in the bike lane, all right? Because this is a motorcycle, all right? You do need a motorcycle license to ride this. In California or United States, we don't have licenses for different power categories as well. You know what? I don't even know how this would how the license thing would work. Like in Japan, they have different licenses for different power level. How would that work with an electric bike? That's a good question. Maybe, yeah, because they do it by the size of the bike, and this is like 0. It doesn't have a displacement. It's 0 or 1. All right. When I just got insurance for it, and I had to put 1 for the displacement, 1 cc, but really I would just put 0 because it doesn't have a displacement, guys. It's electric, right? Okay. Anyway, so yeah. You can ride it on the street. It's a dual sport, and you can charge it wherever you go. All right, if you bring a charge cable with you, all right, basically an extension cord. And so horsepower, all right. This is the base model, all right. According to this sheet here, the base model is 42 horsepower, all right. The R models, all right, the EXR and the MXR models have 50 horsepower, all right. So that's almost a good 10 horsepower more, all right. Torque of the motor is 38 foot-pounds, where the R model is 42 foot-pounds. The red line is 12,500 RPM. That is pretty much as powerful as the motor on my Light Bee with the KO motor, all right, the KO factory spec motor. I've never got it to go 12,000 RPM though, but supposedly it is rated to go up that high, all right, and it won't like blow up or anything, all right. The battery is 5.8 kilowatt hours, all right. To give you an idea how big that is, my Impulse TT had a 10.5 kilowatt hour battery pack, so my Impulse had like pretty much double the battery capacity, all right. The Light Bee, all right, behind me is around 2 kilowatt hours, all right? If you got a really big battery, probably around 3 kilowatt hours. I've had one that's 3 kilowatt hours, all right? So yeah, it's kind of sits in between a Light Bee and an Impulse, all right? I don't know how big the FX is. I think the FX is almost the same size, yeah. The range on this bike is very similar to a Zero FX, all right? Not good, okay? Around town good, all right, type of thing. All right, the tires, all right, so the tires are what make this bike special, all right? It has 17-inch wheels, front and rear. By the way, they're made by Warp 9 Racing, All right, I love Warp 9 products. Those are the stock wheels on this bike. All right, so if you wanted to order a brand new set of wheels from Warp 9, they can make them for you. Okay, so they're one of the people, manufacturers that make parts for this bike still. All right, sort of, kinda. All right, it's got a 127, yeah, 120 7017 front. All right, pretty easy to find tire, and the rear is a 150 6017. Man, that's a pretty wide rear tire, man. I kind of want like a 140 or something. But yeah, that's what I would go. If I was going to make a track bike, 140. All right, tire pressures are 32 in the front and 36 in the rear. All right, nice. That's funny, the MX is 14. Okay, and so yeah, those are the specs. So let's go take a closer look at the bike, and let's go take a look at the stuff that I got with it. All right. Yeah, let's go take a look at some. Okay, I got this cool box with it. All right, Tom hooked me up with this. This is what you get when you buy Alta Motors Redshift. All right, you get this cool box. All right, it has some cool tools in it. All right, so it's got a key. All right, so this is the key for the bike, by the way. Since I'm showing it to you, yeah, that's the key. This is the second key for it. All right, I don't think it's ever been used. It says Alta on it. It's a teeny tiny little thing. Looks very easy to lose, unfortunately. But yeah, there it is. It's in the bike right now. This is where the key goes, right in here, and you just twist it. All right, I don't think it has any kind of locking feature on it. All right, remember, this is pretty much a racing motorcycle, guys. It's a race bike that they set up for the street. All right, that's street legal. Ah, look at this. It's a Motion Pro spoke wrench. All right, a 6.8 and a 6.5. So they actually give you a spoke wrench so you can tighten up your spokes, which is one of the things I have to do for the maintenance on this bike. So I should do that real quick and check the. But yeah, it's made for Motion. It's made by Motion Pro. All right, here we got a Alta Motors spanner wrench. All right, this is for this guy. Okay, it's for setting the preload on your rear shock. All right, and I believe this is a socket. This is for adjusting the high speed dampening. All right, high speed compression right there. I don't even know where. Okay, this is like a hex head thingy. I think it's for some of these bolts. This uses a lot of torque bolts, guys. So there's that, and it comes with a flathead, and I think the flathead is to tighten this thing here. See, it's the perfect size for it. All right, am I going to use these tools? Probably not. I'll probably use a spoke wrench, and I'll probably use the spanner wrench. All right, and I'll probably keep the key somewhere, just in case. I'll keep the key in my garage, so if I need a second key, like I just need to move the bike or something. Okay, there's your charge cable, guys. This is it. All right, it says Alta Motors on it. It's an Alta Motors extension cord. All right, it's pretty beefy. Let's see what size. It's a 12 gauge, dude. This is a beefy thing. You could probably charge it with any extension cord. You probably want at least like a 14 gauge. All right, it pretty much uses up the whole power from an outlet. You don't want to plug anything else in with an outlet with this. Okay, now my garage is okay. I have 20 amp outlets. I can probably plug a couple things in, okay, as long as they're not super high power. All right, so this one plugs into an outlet, and then this one plugs into the bike. All right, plug it in right here. Okay, I will make a video on how to charge this thing. Okay, if you guys are wondering what this is, I believe this is where the coolant goes. All right, so because remember, this is a water-cooled motorcycle. Okay, what is water-cooled is the motor. All right, the motor is water-cooled, the battery is air-cooled. Okay, guys. And yeah, so we'll take a look at that in a second. And then I got a crate full of goodies. All right, so this is what the other stuff I was able to take with the bike. All right, it's not special for the bike. All right, but I got some Peak 50/50 pre-diluted antifreeze. All right, that's, you don't have to mix it with any kind of water. And I got this Pentafrost. It said to use Prestone. Why didn't you just use Prestone, man? That's what it says in the manual. It says to use Prestone, guys. That's what I'm going to use. Prestone 50/50, see? There you go. So this is Peak. All right, I don't know. HadesOmega is a Prestone fan. I like Prestone. All right, I got some chain lube. All right, a chain wax.
I got some gloves, all right, some nitrile gloves. I got some Motorex Moto Clean. I've never used this, but that's what he uses to clean the bike. I got a funnel. I guess he uses the funnel to fill up the thing. All right, so this is the gear lube for the bike. All right, Master Pro. I have no idea where you get this. I would use like a name brand like Castrol or something. Okay, and then there's a pencil. Okay, and I got this crate with this dirty ass crate. All right. There we go. Those are all the things that HadesOmega got with this bike. $7,000, all right? Is there any kind of storage on the bike? No, I don't think so, all right? There's no any kind of storage. Maybe you can put a little pouch under here. Maybe you can put, yeah, maybe you can put a pouch here or a handlebar pouch, but there's no storage on the bike whatsoever. I don't even know, yeah, I don't even know where you would put the registration and all that stuff. That's a good question. Where do you keep it on this bike? I don't know. I've looked in the manual and I haven't seen any special place. All right, let's go take a closer look at the bike. Oh yeah, all right, the garage is open. All right, there's my KLR back there. All right, so let's go take a closer look at the bike. All right, these are the handlebars. They're made by Neckin. I never heard of that brand. All right, same thing with the grips. Okay, I think this uses a, I'm not really sure what kind of throttle they use. But this start button here, this is made by Domino. This might be made by Domino too. I'm not 100%. Okay, it doesn't look like the one that's on the Light B. Okay, this is a mode switch. There's 4 modes, guys. There's a 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so basically they progressively, it gets faster as the numbers go up. All right. What I was told is 1 is like a eco mode, 2 is like a 2-stroke. 4 is like 4-stroke power, and then or like 4-stroke engine braking, right? Regen braking, and then mode 4 is the overclock mode. Okay, it's pretty much all the power. Okay. So I showed you the charge port. This is where you put the key in. It's a really small key. I kind of don't like it. I wish it was in a more traditional place, like up here, okay, or up here, somewhere not here. Okay. And the key is really small and it looks like it's really easy to lose, all right? Hopefully that won't be an issue. All right, if you look at the bike, what does this bike kind of remind me of? It reminds me of a Husky FS450. Yeah, that's what it reminds me of. I've seen, there's a couple people that race them at the supermoto races, and that's what it looks like. It's got a plastic subframe right here. So see, this is all plastic right here. It uses WP suspension, just like the Huskies and the KTMs. All right, very beefy shock. Interesting design here. The collar, the preload collar looks like it's made out of plastic, man. I hope that doesn't break, man. Hopefully there's some metal in there. But yeah, there's a locking ring on top of the preload collar. I like that. I like that a lot. All right, because I've had problems. Well, you have the 2 collars, right? You have a locking collar and a regular collar. Well, this one has a locking collar, but it's a locking clamp, all right? You loosen this and it loosens this, then you can move this, okay? So HadesOmega is going to have to do some preload adjustments for this for me, all right? Type of thing. Okay, so here is, I believe this is where the motor is at, all right? The motor's in here, and then there's the gearbox on the other side. Okay, right in here is all the gear reduction stuff. You know what? Yeah, I think the motor is right here. So this whole top part here, all right, that I showed you is the motor. The motor's in there, all right? How the coolant system, where all the coolant goes around it and all, I'm not 100%, all right? I just got this bike, you know. But yeah, the motor's right here. There's a gear reduction right here, all right? And then I guess there has to be some kind of shaft or something that goes to the other side, all right? And then so there's a window here to check your gear oil level, all right? You probably want to make sure that's topped up. Could that get damaged by a rock or something? Yeah, it does look like it. Hopefully it's pretty strong. All right, most of the parts on this bike are made out of forged aluminum and cast aluminum. So I think this back part here is made out of cast aluminum, you can see. And then the front here is forged aluminum. The front part is where all the cooling stuff is, okay? Yeah, okay. It has WP front forks. Okay, very good. These are the fork guards. It says Redshift SM on it. It has a supermoto style front fender. It's like a smaller kind of beak type thing. very similar to what's on my DR650 here. Okay. Okay, it has adjustable rebound and compression up here. They're very thick forks, man. Look at how this triple clamp, how wide the triple clamps are. It is monstrous, dude. There's the brakes, all right. 320 millimeter caliper, I believe. It's made by Warp 9. You can see there. Okay, made by Warp 9. It has a Brembo radial mounted caliper. Very good brake. So this bike has very good brakes, guys. All right, forks look like they're still in good shape. All right, you can see a bunch of grease and stuff come from the chain right here. All right, here's the foot peg and the kickstand assembly. I'd imagine this probably has a shorter kickstand than the MX models. The MX models are even taller than this, guys. It's a tall bike. I've seen little guys try to ride it and they look kind of small on it. Okay, like I mentioned, it has these plastic subframe here that holds the back up. So it's all to make the bike lighter, right? There's the swing arm. There's the chain slider right there. Here you've got a gold chain. I don't know who makes it. There's no name on it. Oh yeah. It says, oh, Regina. All right, it does have a clip type master link. Okay, you definitely want to keep an eye on that. For bigger bikes, HadesOmega likes a riveted type chain. Okay, master link. All right, there's the counter sprocket right here. It looks very familiar to a regular motorcycle, right, guys? Yep. Just because you have that the gearbox. Okay. Here's the battery. All right, so this has the A pack. That's why it says A on it. And the other model pack was a R pack. Okay, that was the better one. All right, so HadesOmega got the base model. All right, and it holds 5.8 kilowatt hours of power. All right, pretty much almost triple of what a Light B holds. All right, does it get the same range as a Light B? Pretty much. You're going way faster. All right, can this reach freeway speeds? Yes, it can, guys. We'll take it on the freeway. We'll see how it does. I heard it does like 75 max though. Okay, it's not super duper fast. It's not as fast as my Impulse. My Impulse could do like 120 miles an hour, but I've never got to take it that fast. So it's not that fast a bike. That's what I want to say. Here's the rear brake. Okay, it's got a smaller rear brake. Obviously, it's got a Brembo caliper in the back. It's got stainless steel braided lines in the rear. Brembo master cylinder. All right, there's a foot brake. There is a left-hand rear brake part that Alta does make, and I believe you can use an aux brake on this, or the Recluse also makes a left-hand rear brake kit. All right, because as you can see, there's no clutch lever. All right, so there's nothing on this side. All right, unlike a Light B that has a left-hand rear brake. Okay. Also, it does have a stainless braided front line, so the brakes are very good on this bike, guys. It has a Brembo master cylinder here. All right, there's the reservoir. It looks like I probably should change that. It's kind of getting yellowy. Okay, I think there's a bleed port right here. Okay, it comes with I'm not really sure if this is their stock tires, but I think they are. They're Pirelli Diablo Rosso 2s. All right, I've never had a Pirelli street bike tire. They're pretty expensive, guys. So this is the 150 rear, right? Yep, 150 60 17. And then here we've got a 120 70 17 front. Okay, they still look they got some pretty good meat on them. Okay, you can see it's pretty naked in the front there. They don't want you to put anything on the front here because it helps keep the battery pack cool. Okay, there's no skid plate on this. I believe they do make a skid plate for this bike. I might get one. All right, please make a plan to ride this off-road. Probably not, but I probably will do some trail riding with it. All right, I'll try to stay away from the rocks and all that stuff. Okay, so here's the turn signals. Man, there's these big meaty looking dot legal turn signals. It also has a halogen bulb. All right, I will probably put a LED bulb in there. All right, I don't really care about the turn signals, but we'll put a LED bulb. That's what the number plate looks like. It's kind of small. Honestly, if I was racing, I would want a bigger number plate, but I think you could fit some numbers. All right, that's the handlebars made by Neckin. Okay. This is what the tail looks like. Honestly, I'm not really a big fan of the rear tail light design. What is this stuff coming out back here? It's like some kind of oil. I don't know. I should probably check and make sure all the lights work. Okay, that's where the plate mount is, and there's the light right here. Okay, I kind of want to shorten this. I'm not gonna lie, I think I want to just drill this and move the plate up here. All right, I think it just looks kind of goofy all the way back there like that. It just not cool looking. All right, I think if I think that's gonna want to be one of the first mods I do, is we're gonna take this and then we're gonna mount it up here. Okay, look more like a normal dirt bike type of thing. All right, I think the rear lights, they look okay. Okay, I think once you drop this, you're probably gonna break these, so I'm probably gonna put some smaller tail lights on it. All right, tail light signals. So this is a stock bike, guys. All right, is the previous owner didn't modify pretty much anything on it. All right, hopefully he did some maintenance on it. Okay, 3,000 miles, you know, but it is a 5-year-old bike. I'm not a big fan of these gills here. I guess they're there for cooling and stuff. I remember my knees hitting this thing and my knees would hurt. All right, so, but sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Okay, yeah, and then so that's pretty much it. This has a high, yeah, the shock, yeah, this is a shock from this side. There's a high speed and a low speed compression. All right, and then there is a rebound adjuster right down here. Okay, so it's a 3-way adjustable spring. Very good. I mean, 3-way adjustable dampening. Very good. Okay, and so one of the concerns about this bike are this bike came from Santa Cruz, guys. If you guys know where Santa Cruz is, it's by the ocean. All right, I have another bike that I bought in Santa Cruz. All right, and it had some rust on it. All right, so so beware if you buy a bike from that was kept in a coastal area, it may have some rust. All right, so here, okay, we've got right here, rust. All right, rust. This clip has rust on it. Nipple has rust on it. All right, let's go look for all the rust stuff on the bike. And it's like some oxidization on the handlebars. I think these handlebars are aluminum. All right, there's rust here. There's rust here. Okay, he never mentioned about it having rust, but I knew Santa Cruz by the ocean. Okay, just all right. There's rust here on the foot peg mounts. All right, it's probably just surface rust. I can probably just, you know, sand it off. All right, I'll probably get some new foot pegs. I need foot pegs that have sliders on it. All right, unless I can find some sliders for these. Other than that, they look all right. Right. The kickstand looks great, all right, but everything that's like kind of steel, it rusts, all right. This little guard here is rusting, all right. The spring is rusting, all right. Only 5-year-old bike, not very old, right? Yeah, you can see some kind of like oxidization. Okay, there's the bump stop. Bump stop still looks good. Okay, there's the this foot peg mount. Rust. All right, rust on the spring. Yeah, we'll probably just sand it off. We just sand all the rust off, and I think it'll be okay. The rust is not too bad. Okay, you can see like there's some kind of like oxidization going on here. The swing arm. See, it says Alta down here. All right. Yeah, see, there's some white stuff coming off my finger there. That's starting to oxidize. All right, here's the battery. Okay, the battery's gonna have all this crap and stuff getting thrown on it. It looks like it, you know, from the wheel. There's the water pump. Okay, that's the water pump for the cooling system. All right, and I think this whole front part here is the cooling system right here. Okay. Okay, there it is. So, oh yeah. Okay, let's just fire it up real quick. I'll show you what the display looks like, and then that'll be the end of the video. I'll have some videos of me riding it, so don't worry. So you can just turn it on. Okay, you can hear the water pump. As you can see, the display seems to be burnt in. Yeah, there's something wrong with this display. It's a little burnt up. It's a Game Boy display, guys. It reminds me a lot of what was on the Impulse TT. All right, not the most sophisticated display ever. All right, but the Lightbee didn't really have a nice one either. So let's say, all right. So it's got 4 lights on it on the outside, and then there's the display in the center. Display is all burnt and stuff. It's kind of hard to see. Maybe I might want to add another one. I'm not sure. All right, so here you've got your battery gauge right here. You can see it's about probably got 95% charge. This is your mode right here. By pressing this button, you can change the modes. You can go up or down. So I'm going to go down 1. That's mode 1. All right, then you can go all the way to 4. Okay. What these other buttons do, I don't know. Right, the center button, I don't know what it does, man. I was messing around with the buttons, and I don't know what they do. All right. Here you got a speedometer, and you've got a odometer here. All right. There's, as far as I could tell, there's no trip meter. All right. There's 3 buttons down here. There's a check engine light. There's a high beam. All right, high beam, low beam. Okay, and then there's a turn signal. Okay, and then there's a kind of like a warning light. I think, this is the light that goes on if your bike is overheating. All right, so if the battery pack is overheating or the motor's overheating, probably not the motor. The motor's water cooled. Yeah. Okay, and then you can kind of hear the bike right now. All right, that's the water pump circulating the coolant around. Okay. Okay, I do know if you hold this button down, it tells you how many hours, all right? So this is 122.1 hours. I think whenever it rolls, the hours go up, okay? The rest of the buttons, I do not know what they do, guys. I hold it down, I press it, it does nothing, okay? It's not the best display ever, all right? Well, I guess if I turn my light off, it's a little easier to see. Might be easier to see in the daytime, right? But it's not the best display in the world. It kind of barely tells you how fast you're going, but I guess if you look at it at an angle, you can see it a little bit better. I think that's one of the problems with this bike is the display. You know, they kind of conk out after a while. I think that looks like it's been burnt by the sun or something. All right, the sun burnt the LCD or something. So as you can see, the display is facing straight up pretty much, so that sun will hit it a lot. All right. Okay, but other than that, this is a fine example of a 2018 Alta Redshift SM. All right, and so HadesOmega is planning to race this in the supermoto and then just use it to ride around town. And so my plan is to get another set of supermoto wheels. I don't think they're too hard to get. I've seen some people selling them. I've seen one on eBay right now. I'm gonna get another set of wheels, and we're gonna have one with like track tires, and then we're gonna have one with street tires. All right, when I just want to ride around the street, we'll have these on there. Okay, HadesOmega is planning to maybe change the lights a little bit, put some smaller lights. These lights are kind of big. I'm gonna change the light bulb to LED bulb. We'll put some bike numbers on it. All right, if you guys don't know, this is the 39th Alta Redshift SM to be produced. All right, there's the bin number right there. Okay, this is the 39th. Okay, you want to know what's crazy about this bike and my Impulse TT? My Impulse TT was the 139th bike. All right, so the last 2 digits in the VIN number of this bike are the same as the last 2 digits in my Impulse. All right, now granted, this is the 39th bike and the Impulse is the 139th bike produced. All right, but yeah, that's kind of crazy. I think it's some kind of it's like I was destined to wind up with this bike. Okay, yeah, it just kind of just happens, right? Pretty awesome. Also, 39 stands for Miku, you know, Hatsune Miku in Japanese. So maybe we'll call this the Miku bike. I don't know. It is number 39. I think that's going to be my race numbers for this bike. All right. I will use 39. All right. One, it's 2 digits. I noticed for flat track they want you to use 39. All right. I think 39 will fit nicely on this. Also, there's no grab handles on this, but there's these cutouts right here, and you can grab the subframe right here. Okay, so it would be nice to have an actual freaking handle on it. All right, the plastics are pretty beautiful on this, I have to say. Really nice plastics. They're not scratched all that much. I know it's a pretty nice example of an Alta Redshift, is what I want to say. Okay, plastics are in great shape. The bike looks really nice. All right, like I said, it looks a lot like a Husky bike. That's what it reminds me of. Husky or KTM. They use this plastic subframe to lighten the bike. All right, whatever they can do to lighten the bike, they did it. All right. So a lot of the meat of the bike is right here. All right, this is all the powertrain right here, and then this is all the battery right here. Okay, so It's kind of similar. It's kind of similar to the Light Bee. All right, see the Light Bee has the battery on top of the motor. Yeah, the battery's on top of the motor on the Light Bee. This one is kind of more, it's on front of it, okay? If you ask me, they probably could have dropped it a little bit more and made the battery taller, you know? Size-wise, I think the battery is about the same height as the Light Bee battery, but this thing is way thicker, okay? Way thicker, okay? It's got like a reflectors here. All right. Yeah, but I'm not really planning to do much to it. I'm just gonna get it prepped for the track. We'll put some numbers on the bike. I think since this is bike number 39. All right. Since this is bike 39, that's the number we're gonna use. 39. This bike number is gonna be 39. So I will get some 39 numbers. We'll put them on the side here, and then we'll put 39 on the number plate here. And I guess when we do track days, we're just gonna have to block off the headlight, okay? I will put a, yeah man, this thing's getting hot already. I'll put a LED bulb in there so that won't get as hot, so that's what I wanna say, all right? So yeah, so we'll put numbers on the bike. We're gonna have to put sliders on the bike too. We're gonna have to put if we wanna go to the racetrack, we've gotta put the rear sliders like my Light Bee has, okay? And we're gonna have to put a front slider, and we're gonna have to put axle sliders, okay? I'm not really sure where, if this bike tips over, where the coolant comes out. We may need to make a cash can for that, but I'm not 100%, okay? I don't know if we have to do that, and I don't know if we have to take the ethylene glycol out and put water in there. I don't think this bike will leak unless it crashes like really bad. I don't think it's gonna leak, man. Like if you guys if anybody owns a Redshift, let me know, man, if you had problems with coolant coming out of the bike when you drop it and stuff, or you crash or whatever. Okay, hopefully we won't be do too much crashing on this bike. Yeah, so rear sliders, front sliders, and then foot peg sliders. All right, I think might be a KTM foot peg. It's similar to what's on the KTMs. There might be a shoe that you can put on this. If I can find a shoe to put on this, if not, we can put an aftermarket. We can put like a Warp 9 foot peg on it. All right. So yeah, it's got that kind of white and red theme to it, so we'll just stick with it. Actually, you know, the interesting thing is my racing leathers that I bought recently are, guess what, white and red. They're white, so I got the right suit for it already. White, red, and black. It's white, red, and black, guys. I got it's like I said, man, I think it's like a destiny that I wound up with this bike, man. So we're gonna keep the white and red theme, all right? Maybe we'll get some red numbers. Yeah, let's get some red numbers and put them on the bike. Or maybe just black numbers.
Alright guys, so I hope you guys enjoyed the show and tell of my 2018 Alta Redshift SM, alright? I made this video before I started doing anything to it, alright? So, like I mentioned, this is a very good example of a stock Alta Redshift SM. This is how they came from the factory, right? There hasn't been like a whole. I think it's still got the stock tire, it's got stock like everything. It's only got 3,000 miles on it. It's practically new, guys. All right, and it runs great. So I will have a video of me riding it. All right, the first couple times we'll take it up into the mountains and we'll see how it shreds up there, and then maybe we'll do some riding on the freeway just to show you guys how well it rides on the freeway. It probably does a lot better than my Light Bee. Okay, I'll ride that bike on the freeway. Okay, unless I'm doing a top speed run. All right, this bike should from what I heard, this bike tops out around 75 miles per hour. So you could definitely do freeway speeds on it. Probably if we mess around with the gearing a bit, we might be able to get it go faster. Maybe we can get it to be faster on the racetrack. So we'll see. That's what I say. All right. And it's got like 4 modes. You can adjust the power levels and all. It's pretty nice, man. I like it. Like I said, I've ridden the MX version, and I was very impressed with the MX version. All right, and I have a feeling we're gonna be impressed with the supermoto version. All right. So tomorrow I gotta go do all the title stuff and all that stuff, and then I'll get the insurance for it, and then we'll go riding. All right. But yeah, for now it's just kind of like a garage clean right now. Okay. I'll probably clean it up. I'll clean up all the rust I found on it. Like I said, there's a couple rust and oxidization going on with it. And then we'll do some maintenance stuff. I'll check out the chain, check out the spokes. We'll check the coolant level, check the the gear oil level and stuff. I think the gear oil level's in the middle. I'm not really sure where it's supposed to be. Is it supposed to be at the top or in the middle? I'm not sure. The manual on this is a digital manual, right? They don't give you a real manual. I kind of don't like that. I would like to have a paper manual. My Impulse came with a nice booklet with it. But I do have the digital manual, and it's nice to have a bike with a good freaking manual, man. Whoever wrote that manual did a very good job. All right, good job. This bike is made in America. All right, this is actually okay. Yeah. So here's some fun facts before we go. This is HadesOmega's third electric motorcycle. All right, I had a 2016 Victory Impulse TT, and then right back here I've got my 2018 Lightbee MX. That was my second electric bike. And this is my third electric bike, all right, 2018 Alta Redshift SM. Man, I must have had like 10 more bikes before this or something, okay? This is not my first rodeo. I have a lot of bikes, all right, but this is my third electric bike. This is my second American bike, all right? My first American bike was the Victory Impulse TT, all right? It was designed in Oregon, and then they sold it to Victory, all right? And Victory is an American brand, all right? So this is the second American electric bike I've owned also as well, all right? So, and I have to say, compared to the Lightbee, the build quality is way better, all right? It's top grade components, man. It uses like parts from like that you would see on a KTM, all right, or a Husqvarna. It even looks like a Husqvarna. All right, and yeah, and so I'm kind of glad that I got the supermoto model because I don't have to get the supermoto wheels for it. It's already got them. All right, now also another thing is to get dirt wheels for this is kind of annoying. I don't know if you can. Oh yeah, I heard that you can't use these brakes with the 21-inch front. It hits the spokes or something. So I don't know what to do. I don't think we're gonna ride this thing off road all that much. All right, that's a bummer. It would be nice to race this in some hare scrambles. I think it would be okay for like a short hare scramble, like the Hollister Hills hare scramble, because I'm just getting the crap beaten out of me with the Lightbee, man. This is not a good bike to do long races on, guys, because the battery is not. All right, because the battery is not easily removable. All right, you can remove the battery pack, but it's not easy to get out of there. All right, you got to take the whole bike apart. You're not doing that during a race, so. That is one of the downfalls to this bike. You cannot easily remove the battery. All right. Unlike the Lightbee, where just 1 minute. All right. So we won't be using this for any kind of long races. That's what I say. All right. I do plan to maybe take it to some track days. All right, big bike track days, like Laguna Seca or Buttonwillow or something. I still haven't done the big Thunder Hill yet. I think Thunder Hill West was it. Yeah. So I can actually do legit big bike track days with this when I couldn't do it with the Lightbee. We could take it to Horse Thief Mile. There we go. The Lightbee did not like Horse Thief Mile. That's what I say, right? It was too much for that bike. All right, but I think this will be great on Horse Thief Mile. I have yet to ride it off-road. We will go take it to the off-road park and we'll do some riding with the street tires on it. It should be fine, I hope. We'll do mode 1 or mode 2. How about that, all right? It's not HadesOmega's first time riding a supermoto off-roader, I'll tell you that, okay? I've done it, and you'd be surprised. It's not that hard with street tires, okay? It's just going up those really steep hills slowly is what sucks. Yeah, and so that's pretty much it. Look forward to future videos with the Alta Redshift in it, all right? I think it's a very interesting bike, and like I said, it's yesterdecade's best electric dirt bike / supermoto, all right? That's what I want to say. And I'm proud to be an owner of one finally, all right? HadesOmega has wanted one of these for a long time. I could never afford one until I found this one. Still a little bit too much, but I you know, that's fine. Okay? I think MSRP for these out the door was like $13,500, all right? The Supermoto was the most expensive model, all right? And so much, I pretty much bought it for half that price. Okay, so I think I did pretty good, all right? And so I'm planning to beat it up racing, all right? So see how yesterdecade's technology does with today's racing. All right, thanks for watching. HadesOmega out.